Well, Emma, another day and another damaging leak from right in the heart of Downing Street about a lockdown party. So let's just take a look at that email you were mentioning, which was leaked to ITV News, calling on number 10 staff to a party. Now, Martin Reynolds, the Prime Minister's principal private secretary, he wrote, "After what has been an incredibly busy period, we thought it would be nice to make the most of the lovely weather and have some socially distanced drinks in the number 10 garden this evening." And then he finishes by saying, "Please join us from 6 p.m. and bring your own booze." Now, I have been told by witnesses that Boris Johnson was in attendance, and I've also been told that on multiple occasions, Martin Reynolds, who I should say is a career civil servant, was strongly advised by colleagues to cancel the party. Apparently, it was felt that that might attract more attention than going ahead with it. Now, interestingly, tonight, the Metropolitan Police are looking into this, and they are saying the Metropolitan Police Service is aware of widespread reporting relating to alleged breaches of the health protection regulations at Downing Street on the 20th of May 2020 and is in contact with the Cabinet Office. Now, the reason why they're doing that is roughly an hour or so before that party, at the daily Downing Street coronavirus press conference, the duty Cabinet Minister, that was Oliver Dowden, he said the following. He said that people should meet up outside in a public space with no more than one other person when it's from outside your household, and they should stay 2 metres apart. And on that very day, the Metropolitan Police tweeted a video from the government with this advice. So there you go, Emma. Look at that final advice: spending time outdoors safely, or just you and one other person.
Not 40-plus staffers at the Downing Street party, it seems, in the gardens there. What's Downing Street? What's number 10? What's the Prime Minister saying this evening? Well,
number 10 now has a stock answer to any questions about these parties, and what they say is that the Whitehall veteran civil servant Sue Gray is looking into these parties, and she will be producing her own independent report. But look, there are 2 key points that I would say here. Firstly, this is all in danger of getting pretty close to the Prime Minister, and it is difficult to see, Metropolitan Police statement tonight, how this party is in compliance with the rules at the time, although Downing Street is the Prime Minister's home. But speaking to people familiar with this Downing Street, and they're saying, look, number 10 in recent weeks should have been much more open about these parties, about these events. One source said to be, by not coughing, they're making it much worse. They're suggesting that a number of people may struggle to keep their jobs when Sue Gray does produce her report. And there's a lot of criticisms that one of the reasons why this is snowballing is that there aren't really any veterans, any wizened veterans in Downing Street. You can sort of close the door and, as it was put to me, have a private, forthright conversation with the Prime Minister.
Nick, thanks for that. I'll come back to you shortly with regards to the latest on COVID. Now, we did ask to speak to the government, but no one was available to come on this evening. We also invited the Metropolitan Police on. No one was available, but I am now joined by the Shadow Attorney General, Emily Thornberry. In terms of your perspective, good evening, Emily, on this leak tonight, looking at this email, what is your response? What's the Labour Party's response?
I think our response to begin with was complete disbelief. But then thinking actually it falls into a pattern, you know, of hiding the truth. And then when things start to come out, to lie about it and to spin about it. And then finally to say, oh, it doesn't matter anyway. They're hiding behind Sue Gray. I have to say, poor Sue Gray, she's presumably gone round and asked them about previous parties that we've heard about. And now she's going to have to start all over again with regard to this latest party.
I was just going to say, if I may, but we just heard the latest from the Metropolitan Police is they are in touch with the Cabinet Office. Do you think this should be a matter for them? Because, of course, this party, compared to the ones we've been hearing about with regards to Christmas, was in 2020. That's when it's alleged, at the height of lockdown 1, when a lot of people were aware of the fines and the police action that you would face if you breached lockdown.
I think the point is that this isn't just breaking the rules, it's laughing at people. And also, you know, we've also heard the Prime Minister just 6 weeks ago, I think it was, perhaps 4 weeks ago, when Prime Minister's Questions, you might remember, on the 8th of December, standing at the dispatch box, standing before a packed House of Parliament, and he said how furious he was to hear that Downing Street staff were making light of restrictions, and how furious people would be to think that those who were setting the rules were not following them, but that he had been told that there had been no parties and no rules had been broken. So he had deliberately lied and misled Parliament just a few weeks ago to compound the fact that they have been holding parties at Number 10 at a time when, you may remember, for this party, before this party, I think it was a week before, 6th of May, there was supposed to be VE Day celebrations of the 75th anniversary of VE, and the Queen had to cancel her party. We all had to cancel the street parties. People weren't allowed to meet anyone unless they met one other person outside. And then just a few weeks after this party, Boris Johnson again went to a press conference and he said, because we've all been keeping to the rules, because we've all been making all these sacrifices, we are now going to be able to meet one another in gardens. When all the time they had just been doing whatever they wanted because the rules don't apply to them, they only apply to everybody else.
What do you want the Prime Minister to do or to say now?
Well, first of all, I think he should make a better attempt at trying to explain himself. The previous times when he's tried to explain himself, he simply lied. So now he has to come forward and tell us actually what the truth is. I think that it's welcome that the police have finally decided that they ought to start investigating, because clearly they should. And that's what we called for a very long time ago. And Sue Gray needs to come forward with the results of her investigation, if she's able to investigate fast enough. And clearly the Prime Minister is going to have to do something about the fact that he lied to Parliament.
Do you think
he lied to Parliament?
Emily, do you think there should still be the Sue Gray investigation? There'll be some people watching this saying, we don't need an investigation per se. There's an email now, and more than 100 people copied in on it, and reports saying the Prime Minister was there. The investigation was to look into whether there were parties and the circumstances. Do you think it's now defunct?
I think we have to look at culpability. I think that it seems to me on the face of it that it's quite clear that there's evidence in relation to the Prime Minister and some of his senior staff, but we need to know how far this goes and who was involved and who wasn't involved, frankly, because I don't think that this is just about the Prime Minister. I think it's about a culture in this whole government where they just
also
think
the civil service. It was a civil servant who sent this email. It's not just party political here.
It's a civil servant that's handpicked by the Prime Minister and someone who the Prime Minister feels he can get along with. And it might be that their attitude to the rules is exactly the sort of thing that the Prime Minister likes.
Emily Thornberry, thank you for your time.